Hi everyone, it's Matt here from Greatness Everyday, and in this video, I'm excited to share with you my review of the book, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, How to Jumpstart Your Income, Your Life, and Your Success. Now, this was a book that was recommended to me by a friend of mine who works for one of what I think is one of the most exciting companies in the world. He's pretty successful in what he's doing now, and so when he found out that I was into habits and productivity and really designing and creating a life that you want to live for yourself, he recommended this book along, so I just decided to get it right away. And I actually listened to the audiobook. Now, I want to say that if you want to listen to the audiobook or you want to get a copy of the book for yourself, there's a link down in the comments below and our video description. Click that link and you can get the book for your own, because I'm sure that you're going to enjoy it. Now, let's jump into the topics, the chapters that this book talks about. The very first chapter is just describing what the compound effect is. From there, the author goes ahead and talks about the choices that we make, the habits we have, how to gain momentum when we make these choices and developing these good habits, the influences that we have in our lives and how they affect us, and really how to accelerate this change. So let's go through those chapters very briefly here, and then I want you to get a copy of the book on your own so you can read it and really start making these changes, because they're going to help you a lot. I really believe that. So the compound effect, what is it exactly? You might have heard this term thrown around, whether we're talking about something in math, in a math class that you had, or maybe you're talking about investing. A lot of the times the compound effect is really very easily illustrated through finances, and that's what I'm going to do here. There's the example of the magic penny that shows somebody having the choice of getting $1 million at the end of a month, or going ahead and starting on day one being given a penny, and then on day two being given 2 pennies, and that investment, let's say, doubling over the whole 30 days. So this is a decision that you have to make. Do you want that $1 million, which is probably way more than you ever have? Do you want that $1 million at once, and you see that big number and it kind of makes your eyes get big and you want to go ahead and just take the $1 million and run? Nobody's gonna ask any questions or anything like that. Or would you rather start on day one with a penny and have it doubled over the course of an entire month? And the correct answer for me is definitely the penny. It's a simple math problem. When you look at the doubling over 30 days, you're going to end up with more than $1 million. You're going to actually have what is over $5 million in a month that has 30 days. And if it's one of those months that have 31, you're going to obviously have over $10 million. So this is a really easy demonstration, a really easy illustration that by making small changes in our habits, in the choices that we make, in our health, they can add up to big change as time goes on. And if you ever have that situation, you're lucky enough to have that situation, take the penny and have it compound over time. But we translate those things into the choices that we make. We're all faced with, let's say, hundreds, if not thousands of decisions each and every day, whether we realize that or not. And we ultimately have the choice to make a positive choice or a negative choice. With whatever direction we find ourselves being pulled, we have those two choices. We choose. Nobody else chooses for us. It's ultimately us that chooses to make a positive choice or a negative choice. Those examples that we have, what to eat for supper. I know when I go through at the end of every day and do my journal, quite often my thing is, I wish I had a healthier supper, or I wish I ate better when I was at work today. A lot of those things for me revolve around making good choices, and if I could make my day better, I want to eat better food. That is something that I've noticed as a trend in my journaling that I've been doing for, let's say, over a year now, that has really kind of said to me, you need to make better food choices when it comes to it. So it could be food, or it could be anything else, but the choices that we make by starting small and making small positive choices lead to us making bigger positive choices as well. So that's one example. Our habits. Okay, our habits are things that we do over a long period of time that really become a system, and ultimately that is a system that we create, whether it's waking up early in the morning, or completing a journal, or praying, or do something like that, exercise. Habits are things that we create, and a lot of the time it is difficult. A lot of the time, habits aren't necessarily the easy things to do in our life, and that's why it's so hard to, let's say, have good habits. But by starting small and making one small change in the morning, maybe you wake up earlier so that you have time to sit and meditate. Maybe you wake up earlier so you have time to really kind of take care of yourself and make sure that when you get to work, you're in a good state. That could be a small habit that you do that leads to creating a bigger lifestyle change. Maybe you move out of the country that you live in, or you develop and foster a relationship with somebody because you're creating good habits. That's another example of things that we can talk about here. And then ultimately, after we start making good choices and really good habits, right, we see the momentum building here. A lot of the times it's going to take a long time, and sometimes it might be difficult. It might get hard, and we fall into the trap that we think that just because things are hard, they're wrong, or just because something's easy means that it's right. And I think that a lot of the times we have to go through the adversity, we have to go through the trials in order to tell ourselves what is right and what is wrong, or what is meant for you and what is not meant for you. So all of those things add up, and really after a while we start making those small improvements and making good changes, and there's a slight increase, but then what happens over time is that curve starts happening, and that curve here really becomes exponential, and we start seeing growth in all areas or many areas of our life after we, number one, start making those good decisions, start making those positive choices and developing those positive habits, and then we give them time to play out, right? Again, back to that penny example, $1 million at once, or would you want a penny that doubles and really grows amazingly, exponentially as time happens? So those things that we do ultimately create momentum into our life, and then a big influence on the momentum that we have are the things that we put into our bodies, are the different ways that we can be influenced. And there's 3 different ways: the things that we put into our minds, the things that we put into our bodies, the things that we input into our lives, the people or the groups or the communities that we hang out with and surround ourselves with, and then thirdly, the environment that we are in. Are we hanging around in a successful, driven, purposeful environment, or are we hanging around in something that is not those things? So we've created the momentum, we establish those good influences in our lives, and ultimately this stuff leads to acceleration. This stuff leads to that curvature happening, and the growth really takes off here. This is something that I've been experimenting a lot with in my life. And there's times when I do this well, and there's times when I need to do it better. And because of this book, I'm able to identify those times. I'm able to say, okay, you've spent a lot of time really building up your habits now. Now you need to make better choices if you want that growth to happen, because both of those things are going to be needed in order to really go to the lengths and do the things that you want to do. With acceleration, I think that you need to do 2 things. I think that number 1, you have to do what is unexpected, what people don't expect you to do. And number 2, you have to go further than what everybody else is doing. So those are some of the tips and big ideas that I've gathered from the book, The Compound Effect. By making small changes, you can really influence and create the life that you want to, and change it around entirely, whether we're talking about your choices, your habits, your influences that you have in your life. We really want you to help create that momentum and accelerate the growth that you're seeing in your life. If you want to get a copy of this book, or maybe you want to get the audiobook for yourself, I'm a huge believer in audiobooks. It saves me a lot of time because I consume them passively while doing other things, but still getting great content into my world, into my mind, creating those good influences, obviously, as we talked about before. Go ahead down in the video description below and click that link, and you can get a copy of it on your own. If this video helped, I hope it did. Please click the thumbs up button, subscribe to our channel, and follow us on Instagram for daily inspiration and encouragement to live a great life. Remember, choose greatness every day, and I'll see you in the next video.